poem that goes to this book, because it wasn't really read properly. There's the book, The Untuning of the Sky, by John Hollander, Ideas of Music in English Poetry, which takes its title from this poem. A Song for St. Cecilia's Day, 1687. By John Dryden, stanza 1. From harmony, from heavenly harmony, this universal frame began, when nature underneath a heap of jarring atoms lay, and could not heave her head. The tuneful voice was heard from high, Arise, ye more than dead. Then cold and hot, and moist and dry, in order to their stations leapt, and music power obey, and music's power obey. From harmony, from heavenly harmony, this universal frame began, from harmony to harmony, through all the compass of the notes it ran, that diapason closing full in man. What passion cannot music raise and quell, when Jubal struck the chorded shell? His listening brethren stood around, and wondering on their faces fell, to worship the celestial sound. Less than a god, they thought, there could not dwell within the hollow of that shell, that spoke so sweetly and so well. What passion cannot music raise and quell? The trumpet's loud clangor excites us to arms, with thrill notes of anger and mortal alarms. The double, double, double beat of the thundering drum cries, Hark, the foes come! Charge, charge, 'tis too late to retreat. The soft, complaining flute in dying notes discovers the woes of hopeless lovers, whose dirge is whispered by the warbling lute. Sharp violins proclaim their jealous pangs and desperations, fury, frantic indignation, depth of pains, and height of passion, for the fair disdainful dame. But oh, what art can teach, what human voice can reach the sacred organ's praise? Notes inspiring holy love, notes that wing their heavenly ways to men the choirs above. Orpheus could lead the savage race, and trees up unrooted left their place, sequacious of the lyre, but bright Cecilia raised the wonder higher, when to her organ vocal breath was given, an angel heard, and straight appeared, mistaking earth for heaven.
That's a good song.
As for the power of sacred lays, the spheres began to move, and sung the great Creator's praise. To all the blessed above, so when the last and dreadful hour this crumbling pageant shall devour, the trumpet shall be heard on high, the dead shall live and the living die, and music shall untune the sky. John Dryden. It looks like the music did untune the sky. I just still don't understand it, how the music untunes the sky. I thought it tuned it up. Music shall untune the sky.
The sky has its own choir music.
Oh, our music untunes it?
Our music.
We can untune this celestial music by playing our own or something. What does it mean, though?
The heavens have the music of the spheres.
Well, we could read this book to find the answer, I guess. How would that work?
The human music mostly in tunes. Rarely
Humans
like
untune it?
Since Cecilia, rarely there's a voice that
I suppose the humans is
be
generally,
heavenly in a way.
humans tend to untune it instead of tuning it up. Well, the tune part comes from God, I guess. The song, well, we read this because we're referring to chapter 4, which starts out as, "What passion cannot music raise and quell?" The guises of Orpheus is the chapter. The power of musical sounds to affect a listener has always been, as we have seen, as much a literary idea as an observed phenomenon. Do you feel that there's a power of musical sounds to affect listeners? Or is it just a literary abstraction, or does it actually affect them?
It affects not everybody,
No.
Depending on your there is a music that affects everybody. Which one's affected by a particular music, I would say. Say if you're that sort, so you hear that exquisite music Bach doesn't affect you.
The transmission to humanistic.
The music that entunes the sky, that doesn't affect me.
The transmission of humanist Europe of classical notions of musical and abstract harmony entailed a fundamental distortion of the basic concept of harmony itself, and all important notions of musical speculation in general remained unchanged despite those sweeping changes in musical practice that could render matters of fact into points of belief. But it was always the fundamental question of the immediate operation of sounds upon the ear that elicited the attention of received opinion, as well as a legitimate speculation in the compendium of Renaissance musical thought. We're talking about Renaissance musical thought, basically. Though this thought existed right in classical Greece with Pythagoras, so this is actually right classical thought. The question of music's effect played an ordered part on the organic world of earthly and cosmic musical sounds. The one unfinished task of a writer or transmitter of the doctrines of musical humanism was that of working out a reconciliation between classical lore of musical ethos and the Christian ideas of universal harmony and love as figured forth in music. But by and large, considerations of music's fabled ability to manipulate human behavior remained unsubordinated to a general cosmological scheme in which musical mundana and musical humana remained in the relation of macrocosm to microcosm. This is like saying the harmony of the spheres, the music of the spheres, is the musica mundana,
Yes.
and the musica humana, the harmony inside the human being. What's musica humana?
The one that you play every day, the one that's affected by your passion.
All right, well,
your problems.
macrocosm has to be the music of the spheres of the cosmos, and microcosm is, I guess, human music.
The microcosms work to the same, in the atomic, the quantum, and the cosmic level. And in between comes closer to the micro than to the macro, the human experience.
And in which the effects of practical music upon human actions resembled more the workings of season and climate than gold shekels or the strings of a marionette. But there was always some strength in an independent literary tradition of the fabulous powers of music. I guess it's natural to believe in the powers of music, especially a musician. A tradition independent of medieval schemes of universal order or scholarly neoclassical attempts to understand the puzzles of Greek music, ethical theory. Do you know that they have the theory is the theory of ethos, the theory of the music of the spheres, and the theory of numbers. In Pythagoras, you have the theory of numbers, the theory of ethos, and the theory of the music of the spheres. And the theory of numbers is mathematics. The theory of ethos is the theory of ethical behavior. The theory of music of the spheres is music. The mythological figures of Arion, Amphion, and the seductress sirens, the perversely associated Marsylias and Linus. Musical martyrs in their way, behind whom stood the historical Terpander, punished by the Spartan court for adding extra strings to the then supposedly tetrachordal lyre. Do you know that guy? He added a string to the lyre. Ooh, he committed the crime of adding a string. And then finally, the predominant personage of Orpheus himself. He's a big star. Had always stood for the ideal and the model of the poet-musician. He should be our primary star. The art of Orpheus. You think I should follow Orpheus? How do you follow him, though? Where is he?
If you meditate.
Is he inside me?
Yeah.
If I meditate. The art of Orpheus and his instrument, the object of the hatred of the frenzied destroyers, were always taken in an unbroken tradition from classical times on as representations of eloquence. This figurative notion of eloquence, effective utterance in the abstract, always clung to allusions to and moralizations about the Thracian hero. Thrace, dear. So we have to go back to Thrace. Should we go to Thessaloniki or somewhere to look for Orpheus? We could go in search of
Orpheus is a word fake. It's close to
Athens. Though him, something approaching the immediate sense as far as the modern meanings of poetry and music are concerned, of the Greek music was retained later after the cultural practices supporting such a sense had so changed as to limit its meaning. We were reading, we had read the poem by John Dryden, which provides the title to this book, The Untuning of the Sky. That line comes from John Dryden, and we read the poem.